What do you remember about Eazy being sick? And were you in the studio when he passed out? And was that even true from the movie?
Nah, man, Eazy didn't pass out at no studio, man. He was at his house up in Norwalk hanging out. He was with the Tobio twins, man. And they called Mike Klein and told Mike that Eazy had trouble breathing and shit, man, and he don't want to go to the doctor. And then Mike made him take him to the doctor and shit, man. That's pretty much what I remember about when he first started getting sick and stuff, man. Then he went to the hospital and they found out, you know, he had pneumonia or something like that, man. And then he got out of the hospital. Then he went back the next time. He was like feeling really bad. And then it was like, damn, man, he got full-blown AIDS, man, you know. But like me, man, I'm going to always believe somebody shot him up with that shit, man. But it's like, cause nobody catch AIDS in the way Eazy-E did. He the first case I ever heard of. You find out you got AIDS one day, and then in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Eazy-E was always healthy. He lost no weight. He looked like he would go to the gym. That's how he looked, all buff and shit, man. You know, and he showed no signs of that. AIDS don't kill you like that. AIDS is like a disease that eats at you, eats and eats and eats. There ain't nothing of you left, and then you die, man. None of that kind of shit happened to Eazy, man. You know, I believe somebody shot him up with that shit myself, man. If I was a detective, I would look for a doctor that was living in the valley, and now all of a sudden he living in the mountains looking down on everybody. That's the type of motherfucker I'll be looking for, you know. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of I'll be looking for, because they got to upgrade some kind of way for taking Eazy out from somebody, man. You know, that's just my opinion, man, because, you know, I done had a lot of friends with AIDS, and I just saw them deteriorate into nothingness, man. And that did not happen to Eazy, man. You know, that's just my personal opinion about it.
Did Eazy-E really pass away from AIDS? A lot of people close to him have been screaming foul play ever since he passed 30 years ago. I personally, I don't know the facts. I do know that Eazy loved the ladies. And I do know that around that time, the AIDS virus was something that was prevalent. And Eazy has said in several occasions that he didn't even like wrapping it up. He didn't like rocking those Jimmy hats. I specifically remember a Howard Stern interview a couple of years before he passed where he was talking about not rocking a Jimmy hat. But I don't know. Suge Knight did go on TV. I think it was the Jimmy Fallon show, some late night talk show years ago, almost 20 years ago, and made some accusations that stuck around that people have been running with since then, saying that Eazy was poked up by someone who was very close to him, and that's how he got this. Once again, I have no idea. Were there people who wanted to take out Eazy-E? I'm sure there were. Unfortunately, I'm sure there were. And it's one of those things that unless someone comes out and admits it and has valid proof, we will never know. But as of now, we have to chalk it up that Eazy did pass. And that is what happened. He was loving the ladies and doing his thing. But there's always going to be that what if, that doubt. What if Suge Knight was telling the truth that night on that TV show? What do you guys think? Do you guys think Eazy-E passed a foul play, or do you think he was just a victim of him loving those ladies? Comment down below. I would love to know your thoughts. And please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're enjoying this interview with Animal, the full interview to The full link, I should say, to the interview is in the description. So go ahead and check that out. And please subscribe to NWA Stories with Alonzo if you like stuff like this, that real West Coast authentic hip hop. You're not going to hear an Animal interview anywhere unless he just decides to start doing interviews out of the blue. This is about as exclusive as it gets. And if you like exclusive content like this, you have to join me and my boy Alonzo Williams on his channel, NWA Stories with Lonzo. And that NWA in NWA Stories stands with without Alonzo, because without Alonzo Williams, there would be no Eazy-E. Without Alonzo Williams, there would be no Dr. Dre. Without Alonzo Williams, there will be no Ice Cube. And that's just the truth of the matter. So please subscribe to us over there. NWA Stories with Alonzo. We have a lot of great stuff that I think that you would enjoy. And if you enjoyed this clip, you might enjoy this bonus clip from my channel that I am about to post right now. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, a Bay Area legend from East Palo Alto, California, I have Ad Capone from Totally Insane. What up, dude?
What's up with it?
Can't complain, homeboy. Thanks for joining the show, dude.
Oh, man, my pleasure, baby. It's all gravy.
Yeah. Let's definitely take it all the way back, man. You got an interest in life, and your story in hip-hop is interesting as well. So let's go all the way back, man. Tell everybody about East Palo Alto, what it was like growing up in the 80s and 90s out there.
East Palo Alto is a small city, 2.5 square miles. At that time, it probably was like 25,000 people population. When I was growing up, it was like a real tight-knit community. You know, all the families, all our parents grew up together, so it was like a real close, tight-knit community. You know, and then like within like the late 80s, when you know, a couple years into the crack era, the city divided. You know what I'm saying? A couple of incidents happened, and a couple of young dudes lost their life. One of my good homies, Rufus Tooks, lost his life. And that sparked a division in the city. It was Midtown against DeVille, C Street, and the city was divided. You know what I'm saying? So, in about 1990, about 89 is when that happened. The city divided. I've been rapping since about 84, since I was like 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? My mom's made sure I had the turntables and the mic and shit in the house, and I had my instrumentals and shit. She was letting me do my thing. And a teacher in middle school heard us on the playground spitting our shit, and to let us come in her classroom and rehearse and practice after school and stuff, and open up the music room to us and kind of like innovated us. So by the time East Palo Alto divided and started getting a little more violent, I was already a couple years into rap. So around 1990, we dropped direct from the back streets in like 91. At this time, it was the funk was growing. And the following year, 1992, East Palo Alto was the murder capital of the nation. Yeah. But growing up, like I say, was like, you know, back in the 60s, it was like they had a Panther headquarters out here, and they had Nairobi Village, and it was more Afrocentric and shit like back in the 60s going into the 70s. And then, like I say, in the 80s when the crack era hit, in 81, we officially became a city. They established us as a documented city in like 1981. And around 1984, when crack hit, it hit East Palo Alto pretty hard. I was about 10 years old when it hit East Palo Alto hard. And by the time I was 13, 14, shit, it was full-fledged, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and now and then over the years from the 90s till now, it's calmed down. You know, Facebook moved in the Menlo Park, right up the street. Amazon got a headquarters, like right where our old business district used to be at, where we had a market and we had a pharmacy and all that shit over there, and now it's Amazon. So I don't know if I could cuss. Is that cool?
Of course you can. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, back when I was growing up, that shit was, you know, like the neighborhood drugstore, the neighborhood pharmacy. My grandmother sent me over there to go to get her some stockings for church and shit. And, you know, they had the G-Town, not G-Town market, but the little market over there, sell meat and stuff. And now, you know, a lot of the biggest companies in the world has sought out East Palo Alto and came and changed the whole demographics. You know, it calmed down the violence, but it also moved a lot of the people that originated from here. It moved them out because the properties and the houses got so expensive that the average person couldn't afford it. You know what I'm saying? You know, a small 3-bedroom ran down 50-year-old house is worth damn near $1 million out here. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days when I was growing up, that wasn't worth shit. You know what I'm saying? A house in East Palo Alto wasn't worth shit. You can give a house away in East Palo Alto when I was growing up. So
yeah,
it totally changed. And you know, I feel blessed to survive and see the growth and the change. Cause like now, shit ain't been a murder in the last 3-4 years. It ain't been one murder. And maybe I might be wrong, but you know,
really,
yeah, real shit.
Let's take it back, man. Let's talk about the beginning of your music career. And I know you mentioned funk earlier, how the town was divided. Talk to us about, you know, the beginnings of your music career and the specific talent show that was shot up because you were told not to make music with the other side.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, when my English teacher, Miss East, used to let us come in our classroom, we used to be a group of us, you know what I'm saying? And me, $10, which ended up being my partner in Totally Insane, Chunk, which ended up being a Bay Area legend in itself, my boy Doc Louie. My boy Doc Louie moved to East Palo Alto from Texas like when he was young, and as soon as we met and hooked up, we started fucking with the music and shit. And he was in the music, and we just started hanging around and kicking it. So we started coming to each other's house, going back and forth. His mom was cool with my mom's, and he was cool to come to my house. It was cool for me to go to his house, spend the night. We'd be in the room just with the beat, you know, with the boom box, just recording ourselves, doing verses over motherfuckers' songs and shit, and just, you know, just fucking with the music shit, just trying to build something. And he happened to be from C Street. He happened to be from the Ville side, and I'm born and raised in Midtown. And when we first started rapping, it wasn't that. It wasn't the divide. It was cool. We was doing talent shows. We was doing Juneteenth. So we was doing, you know, we was rocking. You know what I'm saying? And once the divide happened, which I understand because we lost a homie, you know, a youngster too. He was only like 18 when he got killed. A real famous dude in the town. You know what I'm saying? A real popular dude in the town. And he lost his life at a young age, and a lot of dudes was mad. They wanted revenge. So we was told on both sides because it got to the point where motherfuckers would get shot. Motherfuckers were getting shot at on both sides. And, you know, motherfuckers, it was serious. So motherfuckers on both sides was telling each one of us, nigga, don't bring that nigga over here. Don't be doing no music with that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yada, yada, yada. Keep that nigga from over here. That nigga might be a spy or something. And this coming from both sides. I know that. I know for a fact that both sides were saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? We were saying the same thing to each other. So, but I mean, he didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. And our friendship was deeper than just a rap. That was my homie from 5th grade on to, you know what I'm saying, you know, until we became teenagers. You know what I'm saying? At that point. We still cool to this day. You know what I'm saying? This is 30-some years later. But and his name is one of the names that I mentioned in I Don't Even Trip on the Direct for the Backstreet album. Doc Louie. And they was just telling us to keep each other away from their side, and it was getting real funky. And we were sneaking behind niggas' back, meeting each other over at Music Annex. We had a little spot over behind my house called Music Annex, where it was like a studio, like Rock and Rollers and Too Short used to press his shit over there, and you know what I'm saying? Them motherfuckers charging us $100 an hour for studio time and shit. So we was sneaking off, meeting up in Music Annex, recording shit. But the problem is we was letting motherfuckers hear the shit. They was like, nigga, didn't we tell y'all to woo, 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 woo? So it was still, it was still funky, like, you know what I'm saying? It was a big talent show they used to have every year at Kelly Park, which is in Menlo Park, which is on my side of the map, on my side of the town. Shit. We thought it'd be a good idea that if we did the talent show and rock that shit, that'd probably bring motherfuckers together and shit. And we had prepared a song to tell motherfuckers to stop the funk and all the shit, a non-violent song and all the shit that we had planned to perform and all the shit. And we thought in our minds that we was trying to help and trying to calm the shit down. But really all we did was brought all these motherfuckers together in the same building. And these same motherfuckers have been going back and forth at each other for these last year or two at this point, because I think Rufus died, and then I think the Juneteenth was like maybe 6 months later or something, like in the summertime or something, like, not the Juneteenth, but the talent show was like in the summertime. So it wasn't that far off, like in the same year. Motherfuckers got up in there and got to arguing, they got to pushing, got to shoving, got to fighting. And then Blickies came out and motherfuckers started busting, and motherfuckers got to running, and motherfuckers got to screaming, and the police started coming, and total chaos. You know what I'm saying? And if you know Kelly Park, it's one way in, one way out. You got to go all the way to the back of Menlo, and then you got to go to get to the gymnasium where it was at in the back. You got to come in that parking lot, go all the way to the back, and then you got to turn around and come back out of that motherfucker. So that was a dangerous situation. It was, that was total chaos.